All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And the video I'm bringing you today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about proc sets. Wanted to talk, the pros and the cons of proc sets, or what people think the cons are and why that's not true. And then I have some dueling stuff and, a bunch of other things. But the reason I wanted to dive into this video is last week I did the patch notes, the original ones, and I talked a lot about what I thought was good about the patch notes and what I thought was bad. And one of the things that I'm not a fan of is their buffing of the current proc sets and how they scale with malacath, because malacath already buffed proc sets last patch, and now they're buffing proc sets even further, which is going to make them even more powerful. And I got, 3 different reviews, like pretty common on that video. Number one, a lot of people agreed with me. They're like, yeah, proc sets are kind of the pain in the ass, tough to deal with, that whole thing. They agreed with me. The other one was, people that disagreed in 2 different ways. One group was like, well, we need this damage to stop all of you kiting 1vxers from avoiding us. You shouldn't be able to kite around a tree against 5 people. And other people are like, yes, 1vx is finally gone for good. And I'm going to dive into all this. But first of all, just to answer that last one, we already had a proc meta. And if you guys want to see this, I've been thinking about making this video, but I only want to do it if you guys are interested in it. But I wanted to go through the video from our different videos, YouTube videos from the last proc meta, and just highlight like my favorite clips of, my favorite streamers at the time or YouTubers at the time 1vxing with the proc sets. The thing is people look at proc sets and they're looking at them this patch and they're like, well, we get to wear proc sets and we're going to cheese down all these 1vxers. And the thing is if proc sets go live the way they currently are, everybody's going to be wearing proc sets. So that guy kiting around a tree is more than likely going to be wearing a build like the one that I'm going to show you. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? So, yeah, if you guys want to see that video, we can definitely go down memory lane and go through all those videos. But yeah, let's dive into this and let's look at what I'm running. So I am on an Argonian Warden on the PTS. For those of you guys that don't know, I don't play a ton of Magical Warden. Magical Warden is my second least played class. Not favorite. I actually like it quite a bit now. At one point I didn't. That's why I didn't play it a ton. But it's my second least played class. I thought this would be a good time to show Magical Warden because, I'm not very good at it. I want to show you how effective it is for somebody that's admittedly not good at a class and how powerful it is to stack these sets. So I got 64 points into Magicka. I just have the basic purple tri-stat recovery or tri-stat food. Honestly, I can get more max stats than what I'm currently running here, than what I currently have. I have the Atronach Mundus Stone increasing our magic recovery by 366. We are, like I said, we are an Argonian. 36 points into Magicka. You see we have 31,000 max Magicka, 1845 magic recovery. When we buff up with our pot and with our Netch, you see we jump up to 2122. On our front bar, we'll have 2300. I don't have I don't have a species skill on my back bar, so my recovery should actually be higher. I'm a bad warden, okay? So take it for what it is. When we buff up with our armor, you see we're at 20,000 spell, or 22,000 spell, 20,000 physical, and we're at 20, it'll be at 23,000 health. In PvP, that's just under 30,000. We'll be at 29, 30,000 health in PvP. So we're relatively beefy, but a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, Else, you're not very tanky. You're very squishy. That's one of the issues with proc sets. And, I'm going to explain why that's not true. So if we dive into the build that I'm running, I am running Kalurian's Legacy on the front bar. If we look at it, I have Kalurian's Legacy Nirnhone with a shock enchant. I have a 20,599 tooltip with Kalurian's Legacy. It got buffed. 20,000 tooltip every time this procs, once every 10 seconds. Icy Conjurer on the back bar. When we hit with a minor debuff, it's going to give us 35,000 frost damage over 10 seconds, and it can occur every 10 seconds. So we can have 100% uptime on this set. We're also running Maw in the Infernal. Every time I deal damage with a light or heavy attack, I have a 33% chance to summon this Daedroth that's going to do 6,000 flame damage every 2 seconds. So I'm wearing a lot of light armor, lots of impen. I have recovery across the board with Triune. Just for a little bit more max stats. Honestly, don't need the max stats that I have. I can make some adjustments, but I have all magic recovery because I don't need it. But I'm also wearing Malacath Band of Brutality, which increases our damage of our proc sets by 25% at the cost of not being able to critically deal damage. If our proc sets are carrying us. They're not critically healing anyways, or critically dealing damage anyways, so malacath really is nice for this sort of situation. So one of the first misconceptions about running multiple proc sets is the belief that, your healing is low. I've heard this argument quite a bit, that, oh, your healing's not very good because you're wearing proc sets. Proc sets have a downside. Your healing's not going to be as good. And that's not true. And the reason that's not true is just about every class has some sort of aspect or ability to protect themselves based off of their max health. And proc sets are not impacted by the amount of max magicka and spell damage that you have. They're just a base value. So to prove that, I want to show you guys by what happens when I put 64 points in the health. So I'm going to take all my points out of magicka. I'm going to put all of them into health. And now I have 31,000 health when we buff up and we heal and, oh, sorry, 1 second. When we heal, we have 33,000 health. We're going to be at 40,000 health in PvP with 23,000 magicka recovery, or 2,300, I'm sorry. Those of you guys that play Magicka Warden know that 2,300 magicka recovery on a Magicka Warden, an Argonian Magicka Warden, is overkill. You do not need this much magicka recovery on an Argonian Magicka Warden. And so we're going to have 40,000 health. So what we could do is we could switch our Mundus Stone from the Atro to the Lady Mundus. So that'll give us roughly 4,000 resistances, 3,000 to 4,000. So when we buff up here, we're going to have 24,000 to 25,000 armor, and then we're going to have 26,000, 27,000 spell. We can also change our character sheet here, and we can go, instead of going Triune, we go all protective. We can gain another 3,000 there, and we can run more health enchants. Honestly, we don't need 20,000 health or 20,000 stamina. We can drop down to like 17,000 stamina with these adjustments. Our magicka is going to drop down around 20,000 magicka, and we're going to have, roughly 2,000, 1,900 magicka recovery, which as an Argonian is going to be more than fine to sustain. At that point, we're at 40,000 health. We're going to be at around 30,000 resistances with minor protection because our armor buffs gives us minor protection. So we're actually quite thick and we are quite tanky with this build. And if we go and we look at our character sheet, sorry, not this sheet. If we go look at our tooltips, you're going to see that nothing changed. So if we go to our front bar, our Calurians is still dealing 20,599 damage, and our Icy Conjurer, our Icy Conjurer is still dealing just under 35,000 frost damage every 10 seconds, and we're going to have just under 6,000 flame damage every 2 seconds for our Daedroth. So our damage has not changed, but what we can do is we can scale and we can have a lot more max health. Now, the question is okay, well, else you made yourself tankier, your healing is going to be impacted because you have no max magicka, you have no spell damage. Every single class has some sort of max health based ability to survive. Wardens is their heal Arctic Blast. If you look at the bottom, the healing from this ability scales with your max health. I was dueling a buddy, and I have duels with this build coming after I go through this discussion. I was hitting anywhere from 5,000 to 9,000 crit heals for this initial heal. It says it'll heal you for 9523 health and an additional 1142 health every 1 second over 5 seconds. We have major mending. If we drop below X amount of health, with our Lotus Vines up and then we hit this, that there's a 15,000 crit heal right there. Obviously it's outside of PvP, but in duels I hit a 9,500 heal with this. So our healing is more than fine. So we could build this in a way to be tankier, 30,000 resistances, 40,000 health with powerful healing and enough magic recovery that we don't really need to worry about surviving. Now, like I said, every class has access to this. If you look at Magicka Sorcerer or Sorcerer in general, the Clan Fear has a health-based heal. If you guys have ever been in a dungeon with a Magicka or a Sorcerer tank, they are incredible. They have so much survivability through spell symmetry and dark conversion, and that heal keeps everybody alive. It's ridiculous. It's one of the most ridiculous PvE tank specs I've probably ever seen. But I digress. Sorks have it. Nightblades, they have Dark Cloak. Dark Cloak isn't great. It's a heal over time. It scales, but it does scale off your max health. Your healing is going to improve via Dark Cloak with this, so you also have access to all sorts of mitigation with Nightblade. Nightblade can't get by with it as well as other classes, for sure. But Necromancer, they have the Scythe. The Scythe is it scales off your max health. You guys have all seen the tanks. They go into the Colossus, they start hitting the Scythe. You can't kill them. That's what they can do. Dragon Knights have Dragon's Blood. It scales off their max health. And then you have Templars, and Templars do not have a health-based heal, but they do have a health-based damage shield via Sun Shield that returns damage every time it's hit. So if you run a few heal over times with the Sun Shield, you can keep your health healed up a decent amount. Remember the old Sun Shield builds that stacked a ton of health? They were running stuff like malacath for that heal to keep them alive. You could do stuff like that on this type of build. So every single class in the game has some sort of max health-based heal that exists that they could use for survival with this type of build. Now, the question we need to figure out now is how powerful are proc sets with this setup? Is this setup going to do enough damage? And I'm going to give you a little spoiler. It is. So what we're going to do in the duels, I'm going to light attack. I'm going to hit Ellie Drain to proc Icy Conjure on the back bar. Ellie Drain is Minor Magicka Steel, which will proc Icy Conjure every 10 seconds. I will light attack, and light attacks will proc Calurians. I will keep my buffs up, obviously, but my entire goal is to keep Fetcher Infection. I'm going to keep Fetcher Infection, and I'm going to keep Ellie Drain up on the back bar, and I'm just going to hit light attacks. I'm not going to hit my Force Pulse. I'm not going to hit my Sub Assault. If he attacks me, you know, I'm going to heal. I'm going to show you guys the healing that I have with this, and that's all I'm going to do. And we're going to see exactly how much damage this type of spec does. So, yeah, with that being said, let's dive into the duels. All right, what's up, guys? How's it going? It's Else here again, and we are dueling my buddy Mad Hatton on the PTS. Now, for those of you guys that don't know Mad Hatton, he's been in a few of my outnumbered 2vx and 3vx videos. He plays, you know, played with El Lobo when he used to play the game, so if you watch El Lobo's channel, he was on there as well. A lot of fun clips. He's a good Magnet. He's a very good Magnet. And he is running Armor Master, he's running Balorg, and he's running Necropotence with Front Bar Master's Lightning, which is a very common, high damage, good survivability, outnumbered 1vx Magnet build in this current patch. It's a good setup. And I am running the setup that I just showed you, and I am hitting him with light attacks. And so I wanted to show you guys this fight because I wanted to show you exactly what this type of build does, because I know a lot of people are going to question exactly what I'm doing, and they're going to be like, well, you're not going to be able to survive, you're not going to be able to do damage, you know, all these other sorts of things. And like I showed you, I can definitely build in more resistances, I can build in more health, you know, I can build in more survivability at the cost of stamina and a little bit of mag sustain. And you could see in this fight, I'm not using any Magicka. You know, I'm using Magicka for heals, but there's never a point in time in this fight where my Magicka pool is pressured. All 20,000 Magicka, 22,000 Magicka of it is never pressured in this fight because all I have to do is light attack for damage. And so if the meta, like if these sets go through the way they're going to go through, and these proc sets are as powerful as they're going to be, nobody's going to be running New Moon and Fury. Nobody's going to be running Titanborn. Nobody's going to be running Necropotence or anything like that. Everybody is going to be stacking health in the same way that I am on any class because they're going to be able to get away with it, and they're going to be stacking proc sets. And so for those of you guys that, you know, at the start of this video, when I was talking about how, you know, you want to end 1vxing and kiting around a rock once and for all, what do you think is going to be easier? Trying to fight one of these guys with their current health pool and their current damage, or kiting somebody that can actually burst your health bar with just light attacks and then has 40k health to hit 9,500, 9k Arctic blasts, or, you know, they're running the Clan Fear that gives them crazy heals, or they're running the Templar Shield that returns damage on top of them. I don't think, as a matter of fact, I'm very confident in saying that this isn't going to accomplish the end of 1vx that you're hoping it's going to accomplish. The only way that you accomplish killing 1vx is by making a tanky meta, or you get better as a player. And the more free damage you give players, the better it is for better players, because they're going to be able to react, you know, they're going to be able to provide their heal over time, so they're going to be able to build in a way to survive to this incoming damage, and they're going to be able to dish out the same exact proc damage. So this is what this next patch will turn into, is people running a bunch of proc sets. And keep in mind, this is CP, you know, like for as powerful as this is in CP, in no CP, it's way worse. Like Battlegrounds, open world, no CP, everybody's going to be running these sets, and it's going to be even more devastating. Like if you go, you know, in my Discord, I talk to a lot of the guys on PC EU, and a lot of the PC EU guys, Xbox EU guys, A lot of them are already at this point. PCNA is at this point where you're just running a bunch of proc sets with very high health. 35K is the new 20K health at the moment. And so I think as players, we need to look at this and we need to go, okay, well, how much damage should proc sets be giving us? With this current build, and it's not just the proc sets that I'm running. I'm not saying that it's not just these exact ones. It's all of them that they're buffing stacked with malacath. And the issue that I've always had with proc sets is they operate outside of the global cooldown system. So what this means is if I hit a light attack, surprise attack, bash, my surprise attack can coincide with a Selene's, or it can coincide with another proc set, and it does damage outside of that. And so it just ends up scaling to provide more burst. On this specific build, my light attack can proc Calurians, which I can coincide with my Deep Fissure and then my Force Pulse. I'm not even using those abilities on my bar. And now they're not going to do as much damage because I have 20,000 health, 20,000 magicka, and I have 1,500 spell damage, but I still have like a 12K tooltip on my Deep Fissure, 12 to 15K, I think, 14K. And my Force Pulse is going to hit hard enough damage to where with all these procs, I'm going to provide a lot of pressure. And this is what you're going to see. This is the meta that you're going to have. You're going to have people running all these damage sets with high health. And if they can't run the high health healing stuff, they're going to be running healing sets. You're going to see Malabeth. You're going to see Earthgore. You're going to see more Troll King. You're going to see a lot of the survival stuff. And in the same way that the last proc meta happened, there was a lot of high damage. People were able to nuke each other. And then what immediately followed the high damage meta of the proc sets was a year-long tank meta that basically it went full tank meta, started to ease up around the time that they came out with Slodes, and then we went straight back into the tank meta again. So we had roughly 2 years of a tank meta, and we're just getting out of it now, and we're entering another proc meta, which, eventually if this makes it to live, it's going to get nerfed almost immediately, and you're going to have all these people building in this tanky way again to survive because, that's what people do. People build tanky. So, there's a lot of ways you can go about adjusting this. I'm not saying proc sets shouldn't exist. I'm not saying proc sets shouldn't do damage. I'm not personally a fan of them. I'm not saying that, they should be removed entirely. I'm just stating that I shouldn't be able to light attack somebody's health bar that costs no magicka, hit Ellie Drain that costs no magicka, and apply 3 different proc damage over time sets that does so much damage to an open, an outnumbered open world build that I can actually kill them 1v1 in a duel. That shouldn't exist. Look at my magicka bar. I'm only using magicka for heals right now. I could drop my magicka sustain a lot with this type of setup because I'm applying so much pressure already. All of my magicka can go towards survival. I can put on more heal over times. I could put on more, I could put on budding seeds. Do I really need other abilities on my front bar? I just threw on the standard abilities I'm already running on my front bar. Do I really need to run those? I don't think so. So that's the point with this video. And I know people are, this is the type of video that's going to get posted on the forums. I know somebody's going to post this and they're going to say, hey, these are what proc sets are. Maybe we should get a look at these. And there's going to be some of you guys on the forums that you're watching this and you've gotten this far and you'll be like, well, his friend's bad. Mad Hatton is not a bad player. I'm just going to say that right now. He's not a bad player. But I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and this Friday I'm going to attempt to stream on the PTS. So if you have doubts, if you're on the forums and you have doubts about how strong this is, stop by my stream. I stream like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern to 1 a.m. Eastern. I will be attempting to stream the PTS with this specific build. Feel free to hop in the PTS. Come test it out and you can check it out for yourself. I'm not saying I'm going to beat you, or anything like that. I'm just saying you're going to be surprised at the amount of survival that I have with the amount of pressure I have with just light attacks. And I think I can change your mind. So that's going to be in this video. Like I said, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please provide it in the section below. I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.